Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video here on Watch Wildlife. Today guys, as you can see, have a new studio set up here now. Been putting a lot of work into this. This is why I haven't put out any videos in a while. I've just been working on this studio, saving up some money for some new camera equipment, as you saw in my update video most recently. And I finally got this studio set up. I'm very near to getting the camera equipment I need. Just a couple $100 more and I'm there. I'm actually not getting the R5 like I planned in that video. It's a lot of money. I began to realize I was biting off more than I could chew maybe, and I decided to cut back a little bit. Still plan on getting the R5. When I upgrade to mirrorless, I will get the R5 and the 100 to 500 just like I talked about in that video. That's the best setup on the market in my opinion right now, and that's what I'll be upgrading to eventually. But for now, I'm just going to upgrade to the 100 to 400 Mark II that I used this summer at Yellowstone. Because that's a lot more reasonable, but I'm almost there. I've almost got the money for that, and then we'll get into some more of the vlogs and different stuff like that next year with that lens. But today we're doing a quick video that is kind of recapping my trip to Colorado this summer. So for those of you that don't know, after I went to Grand Teton and Yellowstone and all those videos that you saw this summer, I got back. That was a trip with some friends. That was just our own trip, totally paid for by us, totally planned by us, all of that stuff. But my family also went on vacation this summer, and so obviously I went with them, with my parents and my brother and some family friends. And we went to Colorado and spent 2 weeks there. And I was able to do some really cool photography out there, but I didn't really get the time to make any videos like I wanted to. There was 7 of us there, so the possibility to film and to take the time away to film with 7 of us, and then you're delaying the whole group, as opposed to when it was just me and my friend. On the other trip, it was just the 2 of us. Even sometimes he was helping me film, and it wasn't really delaying that much for me to film and stuff. So it just wasn't really as possible or as easy on the Colorado trip as it was on the other Yellowstone and Grand Teton trip. So I didn't film much. I do have a couple of clips. You'll see them in here. But I did take a lot of photos while we were there, and so that's what today's video is going to be. Basically just going through the photos I took, the highlights, the ones that I really liked, and some of my favorites, and kind of just discussing them, talking about my thoughts, my settings, and just sort of what went into taking those photos. And like I said, there will be a couple of clips thrown in there, even a couple that are vlog style with me holding the camera out, that are from that trip as well, because I did take a couple of clips like that, mostly just like B-roll clips, but like I said, a couple that are more vlog style. And they'll be thrown throughout this video, but for the most part I didn't have enough of those clips to really piece together a vlog type video, travel video. So I decided to do this and instead do this sort of studio video with the all new studio and show you guys kind of what it looks like, and all the new setup here. And this could be a good intro video for this new studio, and take a look at these pictures. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. To start here, you can just see a couple of B-roll clips of us on the way out west and driving, and I think I had a few here starting out in the Black Canyon area. It may have been the first ones I took, but basically these are just us traveling out there and getting to Black Canyon, and just some clips out the car window, stuff like that. And then we can actually get into the photos at Black Canyon. I don't think the first day, I got any photos that I really liked. But the second day, I was able to capture this photo, which is of just a little bit of detail in Black Canyon here. You've got that crack that goes down the middle, that adds a little bit of this nice contrast, and you can see these like symmetrical yin and yang sort of sides to it. I like that. So you can see that here, and yeah, I just kind of like how this photo came out. It's not anything too special, and the detail in it, you can see if I zoom in here, isn't great. With that 250, it's just not the sharpest lens, and you can see that in this photo here with the detail. It's just not all there, but it works for what it is, and I still like this nice square photo, and I like the symmetry to it and everything, and like seeing some of these details in the wall of Black Canyon. But moving on along here, that was taken like midday, which is really all you can get in midday is stuff like that, because the canyon is just so contrasty, you can't get anything good besides in a photo like this. Moving on, here is a sunset photo from our campsite, and this is just of the cloud formations. There were just really awesome cloud formations at our camp. The whole time we were there by the lake, we just had awesome formations, and you can see that here in this photo, with those clouds coming above, and that sort of golden light back there, and then the blue up here in the top. I really like how this came out. Landscape's not perfect, but the clouds themselves I really do like in that photo. And then the next one is an even better one of that same landscape, but with even more color in the clouds there. That nice purple highlighting the underneath, with the blue up top and everything. I just really love the clouds in these photos. The landscape, like I said, isn't perfect. I mean, it works. It's a nice little desert landscape, but especially the cloud formations I loved in these photos, and would have been really nice to be a Black Canyon with this sunset as opposed to at our camp. But you can see down here in the foreground I've got a little bit of detail with some of these bushes and stuff. Got really low there and kind of tried to add those in the front to add just a little bit more depth to the photo. And you know, it works. It's not a perfect photo. It's not my favorite by any means, but I still do like how it came out, and I think it's a decent sunset cloud photo. Best I could do from where I was at. Now moving along, here is that sunrise in Black Canyon. We did go out for sunrise one day. The sunrise itself was not actually very good, in my opinion. You do have a little bit of color here in the clouds, but not really that much. But you can see this really nice line here that goes across the photo, outlining the edge of the canyon, of the shade as the sun came up, and then the light hitting the top of the painted wall here, and then down in the canyon, the river and everything. Again, this isn't a great photo. I went ahead and edited it up because I put so much work into it with the hour drive and everything. But it's not my favorite. I like the composition. I don't like the lighting, and the clouds didn't work out at all how I wanted them to. But it's still whatever. It was worth showing the video, I figured. Moving along, here is definitely my favorite photo that I took during our time in Colorado. And this is at Black Canyon. This was at sunset. As I was shooting sunset, there was some really nice light on this nice little curved tree here. And went over and shot this photo, and everything just played out well. You had the perfect lighting on this tree, the nice curve to the tree and everything. I was able to compose it where it's, you know, off to the left side here, and then you have these awesome cloud formations and the mountains in the background. And enough, you know, bushes around the edges and rocks to add a little bit of depth, and then the tree, and that's all in your foreground. You got some midground right back in here, and then you get into the background in here, and then obviously the awesome cloud formations above. Just made for an awesome photo. Lots of great color in it. You get that really nice golden color in this area, contrasting with the blue up here, and just overall really, really turned out nice. Really love this photo. One of my favorites I've ever taken for sure. So love this one. Yeah, really awesome photo here. Nothing really I would change about this. I think lighting, composition, and everything was great on this one, and I'm just really happy with how this photo came out. Now moving on, here is a shot of Black Canyon, and this one I think portrays the canyon the best of any photo I took here. You can just see it's a really nice wide panel here as the sun was setting and the clouds were coming in overhead. You've got the river running down the middle here, and you've got these nice rocks here that were on the edge of the cliff in the foreground, and I was actually literally standing against these rocks. I mean, I was no more than 2 feet from the edge of like a 2,000-foot precipice, which was definitely nerve-wracking. But with such a wide angle on it, they look a little farther out. But you can see those made up the foreground, and then the painted wall over here just really looks nice. I really like how this composition came out in this photo. Really nice and dreamy. You've got those sun flares coming in, and just yeah, really do like this photo and how it came out. Moving on, here's a little cloud formation over the Black Canyon on that same sunset of that I took the tree photo and that canyon photo, the landscape photo you just saw. This was just a really cool cloud formation. It looked like something out of Harry Potter. Literally looks like the dark mark is about to emerge out of this. Just really liked how the cloud formation looked. Here we're getting into some really cool photos where the sunset was really picking up just as the sun was going down over the canyon, and you can see here some nice golden light pouring into the canyon. Those same rocks from earlier in the foreground, and you can see the river down there is starting to turn sort of a pink golden color. Nice cloud formations with some light starting to catch on them, but it gets a little better here in a minute, and you can see that with this photo where it's a little bit more. Got a little bit more light there, some more pink in the clouds. You've got the canyon there. The river is now purple. Pretty much same composition there, just a little bit different. What the color looked like in that. And then here is where the clouds are at their very best, at their peak. You can see with that nice pink color there in the clouds. Really like that. The orange in the background. The canyon's lit up well now. You've got that pink and purple river. Really looks awesome. Definitely one of my favorite canyon photos here. Then this one, you get a little bit more purple in those clouds, and the canyon's a little darker. This is right after the sun went down. And I took all 4 of these as the sun was going down. Same composition, like I said, just changing lighting. And just overall, really like how all these look. Now we're moving over to the San Juan Mountains. We drove in this area for a couple of days. We didn't actually stay in the area, but we drove up into the mountains a few days. And I actually have some footage in here from Telluride, Colorado, which is a really, really awesome town. Absolutely loved Telluride the whole time we were there. It was just it's an amazing town, amazing ski town. We rode up on some ski lifts there and went up on the mountains, got some awesome views, and walked through the town and stuff. And it's just a really, really cool and unique little town. Kind of reminds me of Jackson, just not as cowboy-ish as Jackson. Jackson feels like a cowboy ski town. This was just basically a ski town. But overall, really like that town. Really awesome resorts there. Would love to go back there and ski sometime in the winter. And yeah, so here's a couple of clips here I'm showing you of Telluride and sort of get the idea of what it looks like. So that was pretty cool. Now moving on here, you can see we're in Mesa Verde. And before I actually jump into the photos here, have a quick clip that I took while I was actually photographing here. This was the first like vlog style clip that I took on the trip. So I'll roll that really quickly, let you guys see that, and then we'll get back into the photos. Alright guys, so this is the first real-time clip that I've had the opportunity to record. We've just been busy around a lot. There's like 8 of us on this trip, so lots of people haven't really had the time, but we're here in Mesa Verde National Park now, watching deer. You can see I've got the 250 lens on. Obviously had to get rid of my 100-400 that I took out to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, so that was a rental. Should have just ate the money and rented it again, but that's all right. This is getting some pretty good shots of these deer over here, and as you saw in that footage, they're very close. They're walking right through our camp. And I'm able to get some pretty good pictures with this, but we just got here, and it's definitely really cool to be able to see these deer this close. So as you saw there, I was photographing deer, and getting straight in with some of the photos of these deer. You can see here's one of a nice buck there, 4-point buck. Still got the velvet and everything on his antlers because this was in late July, so wasn't quite to the rut yet. But kind of tried to edit this one a little bit dreamy. Went for that with the light up here in this corner where the light was coming in. Kind of got that nice bright white over here and then a little bit darker over here. Kind of gives that dreamy effect. Dropped the clarity down in a lot of these areas. And boosted the clarity and texture and everything on the deer. And I think it kind of worked out. It's not perfect, but it worked out a little bit. But here you'll see some of the flaws of the 250 lens. These are as sharpened as I could get them. These photos are. And I won't say they're bad by any means. I mean, you can see that's pretty sharp on the eye and on the nose and everything. You know, you've got some decent detail in the fur, but it's not quite what you would get. It's not that tack sharp that you would get with the 100-400, like you've seen in some other photos from, you know, Grand Teton, Badlands, and all those areas. 250 just doesn't cut it. It's just not a sharp enough lens. And like I said, this was with a ton of sharpening post-processing. I mean, this looked terrible beforehand. I barely was able to salvage these to even be sharp enough to where it looks good here. But they work, you know, it's sharp enough, but you don't get that detail, you don't get that nice separation between the background and the subject that you get with the 100-400, with the 55-250. It's just not a sharp enough lens and doesn't have enough reach to really create that separation. So these I'm happy with. They look decent, but they're all a little bit over cluttered and they don't have as much separation as I would like, and they're not as sharp as I would like, but you know, they're still not terrible. So yeah, there's this first photo. Here's the second one. This one's a little better, I think. I tried a couple of different crops on this one. This is the one I ended up liking best. Same deer, just a little bit different composition there. Here is a little bit of a cloud formation over Mesa Verde, so that's pretty cool there. Nothing special. Here's a little bit of a bigger buck, and this is actually maybe my favorite photo that I took at Mesa Verde of the deer. This one you get a little bit better separation there, still not perfect and still not totally sharp on those antlers and everything. You can kind of see there that the detail is not perfect on this deer, but you do get a little bit more separation, and I really like the crop on this and the composition. I think that came out nice, and a nice set of antlers on that big buck. So yeah, overall, like this photo. Came out all right. Here's another one of that same buck. Shows a little bit more of the landscape here, so that's cool. Got this shot. Pretty similar, you know, try not to set the subject center of the frame. I mean, he's centered, but his face isn't centered, I guess is what I mean. I was going for there, and kind of show where he's at in the landscape, and you know, add more space over here in the direction he's looking in. Just pretty basic composition there for wildlife. And yeah, it's a decent photo. Not perfect, but it's decent, it works, and I like the photo overall. Moving on here is the entrance to one of the Indian dwellings at Mesa Verde, so this is pretty cool. Just some doorways going back through there, and then here's a black and white. Kind of like the repetition in this photo. That's what really drew me to take this photo with the different rooms. And they're kind of getting staggered, getting smaller as they go, and each one looks like a duplicate. Just really nice repetition through there, and a lot of negative space up there at the top, turned to black and white. And yeah, I really like that photo. Probably my favorite photo I took of the Indian dwellings. Here is the largest dwelling there. This was Cliff Palace, a really massive cliff dwelling there. Pretty cool to see. We didn't get to go to it because the tours were currently closed with COVID and everything, but yeah, really like that area. Here's another photo. Nice silhouette here with the plane coming through the image at Mesa Verde. Here's another one in the San Juans. This was actually when we moved to Durango, so we are actually in a totally different area. We left Mesa Verde, now we're in Durango. And this one I liked because you've got some nice foreground here with the flowers and the log, and then back in the background you've got the big peak. So pretty good landscape photo there. Here's one with some nice flowers leading into the lake in the midground, and the peak in the background. Another decent landscape photo. Here is in Ouray, Colorado. This is the Switzerland of America lookout point. Just some nice mountains back in here. Here's another shot there with a road winding through the mountains. A really cool area there in Ouray. Here's another one. You can see these nice meadows down here, peaks in the background, and here's even some more mountaintops. Landscape shots. All of these were pretty cool. Not perfect, but you know, I like them all. They weren't even really post-worthy to me, but they're cool, and they show the landscape, and you've got some nice light in those. Here you go. Here's one that I actually posted of the mountain range. In the background there, lit up in golden light, you've got the pond here in the midground, and then some rocks and flowers here in the foreground up at the top. Really just like this composition and thought that it turned out really nicely. So yeah, really like this photo. Then here is this really red moon that actually rose as we were on our way home. The moon was rising, and it was this bright orange red color. This is not like, I didn't edit it to look like this. It was actually this orange. So that was pretty cool. Got a shot of that, and it was cool to see. So here's one that I took of some rapids in Durango, and you can see I really just like this composition with the rock. The rock down here, that's the main focus in the corner. You've got this water. I really like the shutter speed that I had on this water coming around. The rocks here, just like how that turned out. And I really think one thing that people often miss out on or tend to forget or just don't really realize, and I didn't either for a long time, was the fact that your shutter speed really does matter on water. You think that, you know, as long as it's a long shutter speed, it'll work. You know, it can be 5 seconds, it can be 2 seconds. As long as it's got that nice silky flow to it, it'll work. But that's not really the case. If you really want to capture really good texture and detail in that water while also having that nice silky flow to it, you have to be very careful with your shutter speed, and it's actually very important to adjust it correctly. And so that was one thing that I was really focused on here, and getting that nice detail in the water, and I really think I was able to capture that well on this photo, and then also on this next one here with these rapids flowing through the river. Was able to capture some good texture and just was able to add that nice silky look to it, but still have detail to the water. Now moving on here, you can see we get into Great Sand Dunes, and I have another clip updating here. I'll roll that really quickly from actually on location in Great Sand Dunes. All right, guys, so as you can see, we've arrived in Great Sand Dunes National Park. Really awesome park here, better than I expected already. And it's a really nice camping area. It's got a perfect view of the dunes. Super cool. The dunes are actually just over there behind me. You can't really see them. They're kind of blocked by the trees right now. Actually, you can see the very top. Probably doesn't pick it up on the camera, but they're massive. They're like 800 foot tall, literally. No exaggeration. They're like extremely tall from top to bottom. Pretty insane. I definitely did not expect them to be this big, and it's really cool. So we've arrived here, and I've actually been out right now with the 250 lens on. And been shooting some deer. There was 2 fawns and a doe that were walking around through here. So I got some pretty decent pictures of them on this. Definitely would have been better on the 400. Definitely missing that lens, and not even really as much for the focal length. I mean, the focal length was great, don't get me wrong, but just the pure image quality difference is just insane. I mean, if you look at a zoomed in picture on this 250, I mean, it's decent, but when you look at a zoomed in picture compared to the 400, it's night and day. I mean, really, the close-up details on the 400 are way better, and just generally the image quality is just way better. So definitely wishing I had that instead of this now. But the dunes are back there, really incredible here, and I think I'm going to shoot some pictures of these little cactus, try to get some macro shots of them right now, and then gonna go back and eat dinner, which will be ready soon. So pretty awesome. And then moving into the photos here, you can actually see the sand dunes here, with that peak up there being about 700 feet from down here. These are massive sand dunes, a lot larger than they look in these photos. This is just a pretty cool photo that I think just showcased the entire, or not even the entire, just most of the sand dunes that were out in the dune field there. But like I said, not even the entire. It's stretched on beyond. This is a massive dune field. Here's a couple photos of some fawns that were in the camp there. Again, because of the 250, I don't really have the separation or sharpness that I like on these photos. But I still like the composition. I think they came out all right. So here's one, and then here's another of it crossing the road. Those were the only ones that really turned out. Here's some of cactuses with some nice detail in there and some nice color in there. Like how these came out. This is something that the 250 did really, really well, was these cactuses. Captured some really great detail in them with the spines sticking out and everything, and I just really think these are awesome macro shots. So yeah, really like these photos. There's a couple of them here. Now moving on to up in the mountains outside of Great Sand Dunes, we went on a hike, and I have some updates here. I'll show you here in a second that were actually in the field vlogs. But I was able to take some photos of some bighorn sheep here. It was very harsh midday lighting and the animals were backlit, so it was not the ideal situation, but I was able to take some pretty cool silhouettes here, which you can see with this photo. Some nice light hitting the ram's horns and his nose right there. And then this one I like even better, with a light rimming the ram's horns there, and he's standing up on top of this hill, and towards the top corner of the frame to kind of show how high up he is and show that these animals live high in the mountains. And just got him silhouetted there. So I like how that came out. Again, it wasn't ideal conditions at all, but still, despite that, I think I was able to get some decent photos out of this little excursion up into the mountains. Here's a really cool one of a marmot, a young yellow-bellied marmot that we saw up there. This is probably my favorite wildlife shot from the trip. Got some pretty decent separation in the background there. Pretty good composition here. He's sitting on a rock. You can see him in the grasses. And despite it being harsh lighting, it's still a good photo, and it wasn't ruined by the harsh lighting. So yeah, nothing too special, just a quick little portrait there of him in the landscape there. And now I'll roll the clip of us actually up in the mountains, and the little vlog clip that I took there to end out that video that I was going to make of a vlog of our trip, but didn't end up being a vlog. It ended up being this video. So I'll roll that now.
Look at the dunes.
Alright guys, don't know if you can hear me because of the wind, but we're way up high here, like 12,000 foot. That's a 14,000 foot peak I just showed you. And right here behind me on the rocks, don't know if you can see well in this camera, but there are bighorn sheep sitting right there on the rocks. So that's pretty amazing. I can't even tell, it's so dark if I've got a shot from here, but I did get some footage of them. Anyways, that is all the photos from our trip to Colorado, or at least all the photos that I thought were worth showing to you guys. There were a lot that were not good, but these are the ones that I thought were worth showing you guys. And that was our trip. Overall, really enjoyed our time there. Started out in Black Canyon of the Gunnison, like I said, awesome time there. Then we moved over to Mesa Verde, really cool park. And then we moved into Durango and explored the mountains a lot in that area. We did a couple other things. We rode an alpine coaster there, and a couple of different cool things just that were in Durango. Then we moved over to finally Great Sand Dunes National Park, and went on a hike up into the Sangre de Cristo Range. Overall, really fun trip, really enjoyed it. These were all national parks that I hadn't been to yet. So now I think I've been to all national parks in Colorado, so that's cool. And now I've got all those checked off on my list, and I'm satisfied with the number of images that I came away with, and especially the one of the tree from Black Canyon. Really satisfied with. I think that's one of my best photos I've ever taken, and I just really like how that photo turned out, and was definitely happy to get that photo out of this trip. So like I said guys, that's going to do it for this video. Just wanted to basically go through and do something with the footage I had from Colorado, and show you guys some of the photos I took and show you the new studio. So this will be the second to last video of 2020. I've got another one coming out later this week that is covering my top 10 photos I took this year, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. This was way longer than I had hoped it would be. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Comment down below which photo is your favorite of the ones that I took, and share it with your friends. And then most importantly, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, because you'll be entered for the giveaway to go swim with manatees down in Florida when I hit 1,000 subscribers. Totally for free. If you haven't heard what I'm talking about, I'll link it up here and at the end of the video. But basically, I'm going to fly one subscriber down to Florida entirely for free. Your hotel, your flight, everything is paid for, and you're going to get to swim with wild manatees in Florida. So, and it's free. All you have to do is subscribe to be entered in the giveaway. So please subscribe to be entered for that and to keep up to date on my content. And I will see you all in the next video.